Hey, yeah, it's your boy Black Pedro, man. Listen, guys, cheers. I just found out it's just gonna be me today. So if you're just here for Shang or whatever, like that's on you. I'm gonna be me. Savage AF. Savage AF is still the name of the show. I'm Black Pedro. I gave a cheers and didn't even take a sip. That's party foul. Mm. Savage AF, man, forget your feelings. Facts matter. I'll be cursing in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Until then, in the meantime, in between time, just know that we're here for you usually Monday through Friday, typically 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, typically live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram simultaneously. We've been having a problem with Shang's Instagram lately, but whatever, we strive to achieve. But I see some over at YouTube. I see Nicole H. Over on Instagram, I see Chopper 2.0, Jumanji. Hey, Nomad 6. Yo, what up? Yo, all right, man. What up, Fi? Breezy JJs, I see you as well. Listen, I'm gonna hold this one down by myself today, and I guess it'll be a slightly shorter show than we thought. But Shane could not make it today. Damani Jones, I see you as well. Thank y'all for chiming in. Listen, guys, if you ever miss us live, like I said, on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you do crack. Okay, that's like your fault. It's like there's just too many options. But if you ever do miss us live, just trust me that we are on our YouTube channel. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You see, right? Oh, wait, here comes another one. YouTube.com/C/SavageAFWorld. When you get there, click buttons. That's right. Subscribe, get notified, click the bell. That'll let you know when we're on live. When you subscribe, you'll get all the infos. You know what we do. Yeah, Chopper, good to see you, bro. Listen, some of you live a life similar to mine. You've been chased out of several establishments and are no longer welcome there, such as YouTube. That's what Facebook is for. They'll let anybody in. On Facebook, Savage A.F. All right, you want to use those dots. Savage A.F. on Facebook. And then even more importantly, man, listen, comedians fall by the wayside day by day. I'm one of them. Because of a lack of following on the most important thing in life, Instagram. At Black Pedro. At comedian Shang. And usually, for those who don't know, I usually have a co-host with me, Shang Forbes. Been around for years. Shout out to him. Bam. He doesn't drink, but that's for the homies who couldn't be here. But that's his Instagram as well. And I think he'll be back with us on Thursday, Friday. So let's go. Let's go. And that's about it, man. Listen, we in these streets. Who else is out here? I see you guys out here. All right, man. I'm some of these Instagram names that I'm seeing over on my page. It says Hag Honey original. I think that's what I just got. But thank you for being here. All right, man. Listen, we're gonna talk a few things today. Savage AF. Fuck your feelings. Facts matter. We at curse time now. A few things going on today. I'll touch on them. I guess it'll be briefer, more briefly, briefery, less brief, less long. It'll be a shorter show. Guy Groves, I see you, bro. Make sure you follow him. Very funny guy. That's his name too, though, Guy. So when I say funny guy, it's just like, all right, here we go, man. Listen, man, this is a Dro solo edition. I'm by myself. It's Tuesday, April 2nd. It's not April Fool's Day anymore. We're not playing, man. And it's 2024 in the time-space continuum. I'm gonna cheers again. Boom. We're gonna end today with a Black Pedro pop-in. I'm gonna try and do as proper a show as I can. And we're gonna talk about villains. That's right, villains. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about a documentary experience that I incurred last night. The Truth versus Alex Jones. Let's talk about it. But before we get into that, Savage AF, fuck your feelings, facts matter. It's a Dro solo edition. Let's talk about this guy. Yeah. Is it finally Bye Bibi? Is this the end of Netanyahu? Now, for those who don't know, in this picture specifically, he's describing how big of a dick he is. This is Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and he is a notorious non-two-state solutioner. He only believes in Israel. He does not believe in a Palestinian state or that they should exist. And I think his actions, especially since October 7th, have shown that. But at this point, at this time, Stanley 7943, I see you. At this point in this time, what we are seeing are droves of Israeli citizens taking to the streets and calling for an end to the Netanyahu administration, right? Why? Okay, yeah. Obviously, he's been extremely aggressive against Hamas, and in turn, the Palestinian people in general. And what we've seen most recently is that aid workers were killed in a zone that was deemed to be safe and neutral, with marked cars and gear, and every indication that they were just aid workers in Gaza there to help, and were bombed and killed by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. And there's going to be investigations, blah, blah, blah. But this is just one of many examples of egregious violations of some civilian consideration. So people in Israel have taken to the streets now, and this is different than external pressure or even the United States, and the Biden administration flipping on its stance. And honestly, I still saw Blinken today defend, or not Blinken, what's his name? Oh, yeah, we get to get that. Sorry, but he's like the spokesperson or the press guy for the DOJ, or not the DOJ, but like the military. Sorry, I'm blanking on the name. But today he was even still defending military aid to Israel to defend themselves against Hamas. But that being said, I think there has been a sort of an ideological flip in terms of by the Biden administration, in terms of like how Like, how many are you going to kill? Like, you know what I mean? Like, your discretion here is out of bounds, right? So yeah, at this point, there are people in the streets in Israel protesting Netanyahu's presence anymore, because ultimately, what this was about, I think, for most citizens in Israel, and especially those who have family members and loved ones, friends, and relatives who are being held captive still by Hamas, that they just want to see these people come home safely, right? They just want to see these hostages come home safely. And 6 months later, after October 7th, what we're seeing is that, yeah, clearly this hasn't happened, right? Like, Netanyahu has not brought home any significant amount of hostages. So, it just seems like mission is not accomplished. And also, let's just keep in mind that for years it's kind of been outwardly known that Netanyahu was promoting and funding through Qatar uh, Hamas itself, and touting that their existence was necessary in order to achieve an ultimate goal of this sort of, what do you call it, Nakba, essentially, right? An exodus of Arabs from Gaza and all parts of what they deem Israel. So yeah, man, let the liquor tell it. I'm sipping a little something today, but it just seems like at this point your boy has not only overstepped his bounds militarily, but understepped his obligations uh civically, right? Like, as Prime Minister of Israel, his civic duty is to protect, you know, every member of society, every citizen, and as best he can. And by funding Hamas in order to promote an ultimate goal of wiping out all Palestinians from the region, which I think he's, even former prime ministers like Ehud Barak have said, that they, they recognize his actions and his verbiage out loud. So yeah, that's, you know, I think these are the, what do they call it? The chickens coming to roost or something. So something, whatever, man. It's just the shit, just shit you deserve. Okay, fucking, you're not doing your job. You're not getting the people back. Honestly, the way that the Netanyahu administration has been bombing Palestinian civilian regions, even though the logic is, well, they're under their tunnels and they're hiding in the hospitals and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, where are the hostages that you're supposed to be saving? Because wouldn't they be somewhere near or with the, the terrorists that you're, so if you're bombing the terrorists, you could potentially be bombing the very hostages that you're supposed to be saving. And months later, again, there's no solution, right? Afton Page, I see you up on Instagram. Yeah, man. So but again, you have thousands and thousands of people in the streets now in Israel calling for an end to this shit. And or when I say this shit, I mean the Netanyahu administration specifically, right? They're calling to oust him. And I don't know why the Biden administration doesn't just step up, because he's done nothing but fuck you moves for the past few months. So it's gotten worse and worse internationally. Ceasefires have been called for. The United States has had to backtrack quite a bit, I believe. But at this point, needs to just reverse and say, "Hey, listen, some people can't control their dog." I'm gonna say it like that because that's what Israel was supposed to be. That's why they're our closest ally internationally. Is like that. That's our watchdog in the Middle East, right? That's our most vested interest. So, sometimes I had a pit bull, man. Sometimes she just got loose, and you just be like, "Shit, Georgia, get back, stop, sit," and she just wouldn't do the things you said, and shit. She wasn't her specifically wasn't dangerous or a killer, but she could get wild. She could get out of control. Part of that's on me, but she was also a dog, so I'm not calling Israel a dog, but metaphorically, you know, wild. You know what I'm saying? Just aggressive, aggressive. Just wanted to be out there doing things. Nicole H. I don't want to, spread too much rumor or innuendo without the brother being here. But Nicole H. says Shang held me hostage once. He was paid with Shang bucks to release me. All right. Well, I ain't gonna lie. It sounded like you enjoyed that. You nasty woman. Send me the pictures, girl. Post the video. We know what's up. We know what you did with your booty in the air, Nicole. Stop playing. But that's why we're Savage AF, man. Fuck your feelings. Facts matter. Because you see what I'm saying? It's the sweat and smile emoji. That means you worked up a sweat, but you had a good time. You gotta read these emojis, man. They ain't all just superfluous, just little nothings. Just ha ha ha. No, she put the sweat smile. Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all sweated that out, didn't you? Nicole held you hostage. Uh-huh. Or did you bring the handcuffs? To OnlyFans. It's on her OnlyFans. Make sure you follow Nicole H's OnlyFans. That's all. She only got fans. Over on Instagram, I see one who is quiet, which is the person you have to watch. Mm-hmm. That's usually the culprit. Nicole H said we will go to jail for those videos. Not in Nevada if you release them legally, okay? Don't ask me how I know that. Follow at Black Pedro on Instagram. I'm gonna grab the bottle. I'll be right back. All right, man. Savage AF. Fuck your feelings. Facts matter. Whoa. That was close. My glass almost became empty. But here we go, y'all. All right, round two. You know what we do. While this might be the end of Bibi Netanyahu, we have seen the end of another motherfucker that should have been canceled. But when you see the hypocrisy in the documentary I'm about to talk to y'all about, you might say to yourself,
motherfucker say what? Yeah. Motherfucker say what? Say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Truth versus Alex Jones. It's a new documentary on Max, HBO for those who grew up before the internet, and apps. Manny G.B. Moore, I see you. Okay. I'm assuming you're a G from Baltimore? Manny? I don't know. But the truth versus Alex Jones. A documentary on HBO. Apparently, HBO had cameras in the Alex Jones trials versus multiple Sandy Hook parents. The one in which he was basically found to be liable for almost $1 billion. It was like $960 million. And I'm not. I know. I drink. Okay, I ain't drunk. You know what I'm saying? I've been drinking, but I ain't drunk. ABZ83, I see you over on Instagram. By the way, we're on Instagram and YouTube live. The YouTube has its own other YouTube and Facebook, its own connected comment section. So if you're on my Instagram and you want to join the greater community, go ahead and do that over on our YouTube. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. But listen, um, Alex Jones. So in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, sorry, I'll just say this, or in Connecticut, a school called Sandy Hook. I believe 19 or so individuals were killed. Um, Most of them children, elementary school level. Through this documentary, you find out details that I didn't know, that the shooter basically found a classroom full of kids cornered in a small bathroom to the left of the door of the classroom itself, and was able to mow down all but one child who was miraculously unhid. But he committed murder in two different classrooms and then suicide, all in the span of 6 minutes, which is a tough amount of time, because you got to. They also estimated that the first emergency call came in about a minute and a half after the shooting started. So now we're talking about 4.5 minutes of actual response time. It's not possible. I guess thanks goodness he killed himself before he went to other classrooms. But there was, sort of immediately, when I say immediately, the documentary reveals that within hours, just shortly after the incident was reported, Alex Jones was, I'll say reporting, on his shit Infowars or whatever. We know. I'm sorry. Do we know who Alex Jones is? Let me see. He looks like if an egg roll had hands or whatever. Also in the video, you see that like when he first started, like he was an in shape dude, and at some point, his neck, his shoulders, and his earlobes combined into the same place. Um, but that's him counting how many times he lies per second, which is 3. But Alex Jones, that dude, show Infowars, really popular, right wing conservative airhead bullshit, right? Immediately after the Sandy Hook school shooting, started claiming that it was a false flag, a setup, didn't happen, nobody died, the parents are fake. The documentary does delve into the pieces of media footage that he would use and harp on to claim that this thing was fake, which ultimately ended up being evidence against him in this suit that he's going to have to pay for in somehow, some way. But also exposed Infowars as not just this propaganda machine, but a propaganda machine geared solely towards the sales of, products. He's selling like iodine drops to fight nuclear radiation from the apocalypse, or, eat your neighbor tablets or whatever, right? Like just like a snake oil salesman. When Nicole H says the truth isn't always true, True quote from Alex Jones. Is that true though? But that's the kind of shit he would say, right? Like the truth isn't always true, and it's like to get it. But yeah. So yeah, Alex Jones, just a guy who told it's probably the first dude to throw out this hoax theory of Sandy Hook and this idea that the government was going to push fake mass shootings on us in order to take your guns away. Blah blah blah. But all of that is just to get people. And there's like, oh, by the way, try Silver Bullet, the new supplement that keeps the government out of your guns or whatever, right? Like it was just like these totally not combined things that. So it exposes all that, but what it also really really exposes, right? This documentary on Max or HBO if you're old, is the hypocrisy of this entire movement, right? This lack of need for facts, first of all, for any of the audience members, but for the presenters, people like Alex Jones or your Tucker Carlsons or these people who honestly they know they are lying. And in this documentary, Alex Jones admits in court, on the record, on camera, that he does not believe that Sandy Hook was a hoax, right? Like he stated that he believed it at the but like he's now like, okay, I know that it was not on the record, at least that. But also in his documentary, he would go into court and they would present evidence from his show from that day and just be like 2 hours ago, he just said that the father of this victim is an idiot and a caveman or whatever, like shit. Like, so like in real time in the court, they're presenting, evidence of things that he's saying that are hypocritical to the way he's presenting himself publicly, or vice versa. He's presenting himself publicly and then in court, saying things to the parents, and sometimes off the record, but recorded on camera. But on the legal record, he does admit that Sandy Hook happened. And he did that off camera as well and was so trying to be apologetic, but a fake piece of shit. Nicole H. said Texas would annex itself before it gave up guns. I just saw a clip that taught me about what Six Flags, the amusement park Six Flags is all about. Because there's this phrase, the Six Flags over Texas. Because apparently at some point, Texas was comprised was controlled by 6 different countries. Spain, Mexico, France, the United States, the Confederacy, and the Republic of Texas. No wonder y'all don't know how to put sauce on your barbecue. Them dry ass ribs. Better sauce that shit up. But whatever. All of it's a guise. Nobody knows the government's not coming for your guns. And realistically, it should be harder to get guns. And I own them. The last motherfucker they should have gave guns to. Come on, man. That's a joke, guys. Just kidding. Comedy, breathe. Savage AF, fuck your feelings. Facts matter. But also, one of the big highlights of this documentary, The Truth versus Alex Jones, is that this guy, he was out here spreading these lies essentially about the parents and saying that all of these parents who had lost their children in such a tragic way, in such a preventable way. Oh, Damani, that's what I'm saying. He said Texas can't barbecue. Come on, Joe. Hey, bro. I'm not saying y'all can't. I'm just saying I don't agree with your style. That's all. I ain't saying it ain't there. I'm just saying sauce it up, dog. You know what I mean? That dry rub shit, that's not me, man. I believe that's a Texas thing, right? Like y'all leave it and then you pour the sauce on later. Nah, man. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, man. You don't please don't serve me no dry ribs. It's my preference. It's my preference to not have my ribs dry. Need that juice. Need that sauce, man. Come on, bro. Those the most sweet than spicy. A little citrus in it. Come on, dog. Don't play with me, man. My ribs fall off the bone, so don't like I did. Don't give me. Let me stay focused. All right. Alex Jones, man, he was lying on these parents, and that's ultimately who brought cases against him. Right? It's these groups of parents that banded together to eventually just say, "Look, you're telling me I'm lying about the loss of my child," and that's even as a non-parent, I can empathize with that. To this idea that like if you like, because that's like the ultimate no of parenthood is like you're not supposed to bury your child, right? Like it's just like not how life is supposed to go, right? Like you're supposed to outlive your children, and especially when they only live 5, 6, 7 years, and then some crazy dude comes in and shoots them with a fucking automatic weapon, and they need to know about moles on your feet just to identify the kid because the rest isn't really there. Yeah, that'd be a lot to have somebody tell me that was all fake or I was some government plant if I actually lost my child. So, I think that was the biggest thread of this was just like this man lied against people. They had the threats and the death calls and people in public being like, you lied about this and you lied, and it's just like you're just trying to deal with the death of a child, right? And this one guy has stirred up this hate NATO, against your life, in this totally, you know, unjust or just incredible way, right? Like literally incredible, lacking credit. So yeah, while we know, and this is post events, right? It's a documentary, so therefore the things that are documented have already happened. But it is just more than like, oh, Alex Jones got this verdict. Like you get to see how these people behave in these situations. They try to backtrack off camera or off the record. Um, Obviously, there are situations where they cannot perjure themselves. This is also a situation where you learn that because it covers two different trials that total this grand sum of like $960 million, but both show that his camp, Alex Jones's camp, was not cooperative with the legal process. What do they call it? Discovery, right? Where you're like, well, this is the evidence we have, and blah blah, and the prosecution is asking for certain stuff, and they're not handing it over. And it got to the point in both cases where I see Auntie Sandra says, welcome to it over on Instagram. Bobby, the comedian, welcome to it as well. But like, they say that like the Jones camp did not cooperate with discovery, did not hand over things that prosecution was asking for, to the point in which in both cases the judge was like, well, fuck it, then you're guilty. Like, and that's I think they call it a summary verdict. I could be wrong about that. Did I say you said X Lax Jones? Nicole, I mean, he's a guy who should be shitting his pants. Um, but yeah, yeah, both times the judge is basically like, if you can't cooperate, if you can't do this, you can't do that, then fuck it, you're guilty. And so in this documentary, all you're seeing are juries deciding how much, right? It's all at this point, a judge has already decided, blah, blah, blah. And then you see Alex Jones and he tries to go out to the public and say that, this is some sham, it's a witch hunt. And it's also Trump like. That's why, the only reason I like to highlight this is not to platform him, but it's just to understand that these guys, right, like the Trumps, the Alex Joneses, right, like all of these guys that go out here, and Giuliani, right, they say all these things in public, and then they get in court and they can't say any of that shit because it's all fucking lies, and they know that they'll go to jail for lying, right? Like they done flipped Weisselberg again. Well, not even again, but because he couldn't, he done lied. He lied. They have a court recorder for a reason. But in this documentary, you definitely see. Oh, and thank you for the backup there. Auntie Sandra says, I'm going to go ahead and share this just so they don't think I'm lying. But again, I have no Juris Doctorate. I do not have a law degree. But Auntie Sandra says, I was watching the documentary on him this morning, Summary Judgment. Okay, cool. I thought that's what it was called, but thank you for the backup there. But yeah, apparently if you don't cooperate with the court, they'll just be like, well, bitch, you did it then. Fuck it. If you can't produce the shit that says you didn't do it, then you did that shit. Mm-hmm. And Nicole H, as we say here, fuck your feelings. Facts matter. And that's what we see in this. A bunch of facts laid out, and then a guy like Alex Jones and his team trying to dance around it, but very unsuccessfully. And I think ultimately, one of the more important underlying themes of it is the money that they made off of it, right? These the prosecution was able to draw these direct lines between what was said at a certain time on the show, in comparison to spikes in sales, right, through the website. So when certain things were talked about or said, especially regarding Sandy Hook, they could get spikes in sales. So when you're like, well, $900 and something million and blah, and that's a lot of money. It's like, well, the data actually shows, the metrics show that they also made a lot of money off of these lies. Things that now in court he's had to admit that were lies, that were not true, that he said falsely. And so if you make money off the lies, you're gonna have to pay some tax on that, brother. Possibly give it all back, I think. So that's just how that cookie crumbled. Speaking of cookies, this is how many he eats per second. Right? Like if you saw, they had some pictures of a younger Alex Jones, and I Googled young Alex Jones to try and give y'all a comparison, but they were all topless of him flexing muscle wise, and I just wasn't about to do that. But I'll just say he was like, used to be in shape. I mean, usually you see a cookie monster like this, and you think, yeah, he was always the fat kid. You know what I mean? Sloth love Chunk. You know what I'm saying? He looks like Chunk from Goonies. Ironically, I know Chung from Goonies. I met him in adulthood, and he's in way better shape than Alex Jones. It doesn't look anything like he's not the fat kid anymore. But Alex Jones became the fat kid, adult dude, kid. I'll eat my neighbor. He said that out loud. I'll eat my neighbor. That's how many neighbors he's eaten. That's how many of his neighbors he has eaten. A chunk monkey. So this chunk monkey, fat bastard, white biscuit, doughboy headed, goddamn salt king. I'm glad, man. I just hope, that he fucking ends up in a tent on some freeway overpass. Just, mething the fuck out with a hooker named Raquel. Who's actually a man named Richard. Nicole H said, were they vegan neighbors? When you get down to the bone, I don't think it matters, girl. Like, shit. He's just trying to feed his kids to himself. He looks like a child eater. Like, he would just be like, well, I'll make some more. Honey, I love you. But God damn it. You don't want to watch this part, chomp. All right, so if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna wrap this segment up, and then we'll wrap the show with one more little thing. But watch The Truth versus Alex Jones, and that's the title on Max. And it beyond just Alex Jones, it gives you this perspective of, I think, this entire MAGAistic white supremacist platform of, just simple-minded motherfuckers who will soak up anything. The guys like Alex Jones who are willing to manipulate them and able to know that they can say anything and will say anything to make a buck. And ultimately are just going to try and dodge the justice system as best they can. That being said, fuck Alex Jones and his donut hole finger grabbing nubby stub motherfucker. Miss A Dub 33. I see you over on Instagram. All right, man, here we go. I usually say it's my turn, but today is just, it's all me.
Hey, 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 it's your boy Black Pedro popping in, hey, 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 with another poppin' to let you know what's poppin'.
Hey, it's your boy Black Pedro with another poppin' to let you know what's poppin', man. So listen, we know this thing went down. It is called the March Madness tournament. And usually, the focus is on the men's side, right? But lately, we've had some ballers, and it's just historically as well. But I think most recently, we've had some ballers in this game. Juju Williams, Angel Reese, and then speaking of which, definitely she's been crowned the queen of college basketball and women's basketball, I think, overall in this moment. Caitlin Clark. And when I watch it, especially approaching my 47th birthday, I realized that, hey, all of these chicas could ball me way the fuck up, and probably always could. So, it is not even about doubting talent. My only teams that made it to the tournament were women's teams, both Michigan and Princeton. None of my men's teams made it to the tournament. So, I was in it this year. I've been watching, and what we had was last night, Caitlin Clark got a bit of revenge back against the LSU Tigers, and they beat Angel Reese and them. But more than just the competition itself, because it's not even about that. These are all highly competitive, skilled athletes. The reality is, leading up to it, and to the point in which an LA Times reporter has had to apologize for his characterization of, the build up to the events and the event itself, but that it was this good versus evil. You know what I mean? There's this protagonist versus the villain, and at the end of the day, guess who the fucking villain was? And this is no shame on her. This has nothing to do with her as a person. But do you think the villain was your milk white golden girl? She's a brunette, but you know what I mean. Caitlin Clark from Iowa, or Angel Reese, sister, representing who she is all the way to the fullest, from Louisiana State University, LSU. Which one do you think was painted as the villain? The black one. That's the answer. Damn, man. What took y'all so long? Starts to worry me when people don't chime in quick enough. Nicole H., your men's team went out first round. Hey, man, at least they made it. I went 2 years in a row without Michigan making it to the tournament, and then we lost our coach, and when we got another one. His name is Dusty May. I don't know anything about him, but in his name alone, Dusty May is just like dry uncertainty, right? Like Dusty May, I don't know. Please let me be wrong. Go blue. But anyways, man, yeah, it was the black one. They nationally, the story has been that somehow Angel Reese is this villain, and you know what it stems back to is last year, like the Caitlin Clark was in people. Caitlin Clark be shooting from other arenas. Caitlin Clark will go to another game and score in her game. Like her team could be playing in motherfucking Minnesota, and she'll go to Chicago and Northwestern or whatever, right, and be shooting at the game in Minnesota from Chicago, right? Like she got that. Ain't nobody saying she ain't got that. But last year she was in people's face like, yeah. She was hitting from Chicago and Minnesota like, yeah, right? And then when Angel Reese and them beat them last year, Reese came back like, yeah, where was that? Yeah. And then they said Angel was horrible. Said she was bad. Caitlin Clark stood up for her. I appreciate that. She a real one. Again, this is nothing there. It ain't got shit to do with Caitlin Clark. But only with the way America wants to portray black and white, to be honest. And they're always like, why y'all always talking about race? Well, why the fuck is Angel Reese a villain in this thing, right? Why is she the bad chick? Why is either one of them bad? Right? They both work hard. They both have talent. They both want the same thing. Why was Angel Reese the villain? And the thing is, if you have any melanin in your skin, you know why. But some people, and of course, this writer from the LA Times, you're just not going to get it. You're not going to see it, right? Because you don't live it, right? White supremacy doesn't hold you back. It might not overtly help you, right? You might not be, a lieutenant in the fucking Klan or whatever, but white supremacy will not be holding you back, so you won't see the limitations of it. But within that, what I'm going to tell you is that I think by 7 points, maybe 94 to 87, Iowa beat LSU last night, and it seemed like an emotional post-game press conference, especially for LSU. One of her teammates really came to bat for her, but you had an emotional, teary, crying Angel Reese, um, who was talking about the racist, sexualized misogyny, and just overall, I think, patriarchal brutalization that she had to face, um, as a result of her kind of success and rivalry or whatever within this game. Just her persona within the game, just her who she is, just being herself. She's faced all these things, and there was just kind of this release, probably combined with losing a big game that you did not want to on one of the biggest stages. And the aftermath, the after commentary in this is, it's shut up and play basketball adjacent. You know what I mean? It's that she's like, crying because she lost. And to be honest, that's acceptable as well, right? Like, you can cry because you lost. But they were trying to say it like the other things she was expressing, the pressures, the external pressures, the racism, the misogyny, the patriarchy, that she was making excuses. And if she had been like, yeah, I had too many pancakes yesterday, or I should have these shoes. I asked for better shoes, and they gave me. Then you could be like, all right, Chica. But the reality is, all of these athletes are human. And for those who don't understand racism because it doesn't apply to you and never meant to, uh, your opinion isn't valid. You can have it, say it out loud if you want to, but nobody should be listening to you. Usually, Stacy. You're usually earlier than this, but cheers, girl. Welcome to it. But if you're not a potential target for racism, and when we say racism in America, we're really talking about white supremacy, right? Because yes, racism could happen in so many different ways, but in America, it's happened one way, through white folk thinking they better than everybody else. And for the most part, globally, that's that's been the marketing strategy. So when we talk about racism, we're really talking about white supremacy. So maybe I'll just stop saying racism and just say white supremacy, because that's what we're really fighting. Um, to be honest, if I could be racist and it could help me make more money or whatever, just keep you guys down, yeah, sign me up. I just don't have a factory yet, but when I get one, yeah, man. But if racism isn't meant for you, then I don't want to hear, honestly, your voice about how somebody should just get over racist comments. I mean, we've seen like these international soccer players, right? These brothers, Africans who play in these European leagues, and they get all kind of shit hurled. It's like, where's Jackie Robinson when you need him, right? Called monkeys and apes and all kind of shit. And they out here playing for these multi-million-dollar franchises and countries in some case, and still don't get that modicum of basic humanitarian respect. That's gonna weigh on you, man. But you're not gonna understand that if you don't carry, that the skin of injustice. But whatever. I've been drinking. I'm high. Don't listen to me, guys. Savage AF, fuck your feelings. Facts matter. Just a shout out to Angel Reese and the LSU Lady Tigresses. Tigress. Man, you ladies balled out. And shout out to them Iowa Lady Hawkeyes. Go blue. But hey, you represent the Big Ten, so I'm gonna big that up. And big up women's basketball in general, because these chicks do be balling out here, man, to be honest. Um, way better than I ever did in my life. So I really can't talk shit about it, man. You ain't never heard me tell a WNBA joke. That I would get dunked on. Yeah. I would have vagina in my face. And I might be happy, but they would just on me. Yeah, so I can't really talk shit, guys. Savage AF, man, fuck your feelings, facts matter. This has been a Dro solo edition. I almost did an hour by myself. I try to shut the fuck up when I'm just by myself, but today, the juice doth flow. That being said, wait, did Shane say he would be here tomorrow? Oh, you know what? He can do tomorrow. I can't. But you know what? I want you guys to demand and force Shang to do a Shang solo. Mm-hmm. And just hold this bitch down by himself like I do sometimes. You know what I mean? He probably gonna call one of y'all in. That'll be your time to get in on the show. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, in the meantime, in between time, I really do thank you guys for those who hung out with me today. This is a fantastic time. Saved me a lot on therapy bills, man, for real. That shit is expensive. Listen, guys, before we get out of here, I want you to keep a few things in mind. Number one, stay black if you are black. Okay? Wakanda forever. It's not a real place. Rule number two, do not be black if you are not black. White Conda forever. I don't even know what you guys would do. And then third, last, but definitely not least, keep your finger out your nose.